Hey everyone, it's Natalie. I'm back again today to do who knows what. We are mainly focusing on healing, but I would like to bring up a comment that got the wrath of Natalie in the comment section. So the other day, I had to stop the video for a second to ask my son to turn on the TV. The TV echoes because we live in an open type of house. We have 2 living rooms upstairs and a basement downstairs with an 82-inch TV with a VR set with a computer in my, like a whole gaming computer set in my son's room with a Ferrari wheel, everything that he needs to be entertained. It had snowed. He bought a snowboard. We have a hill in the back. He could snowboard. He could play basketball. He could play football. He could play with his friends. But because my son loves me so much, honestly, he just wants to spend time with me because he just likes hanging out with me. But somebody in my comment wanted to criticize my parenting skills about humiliating my son by asking him to turn the TV down when just moments or minutes before I said I'm going to go, it was either on the live or a video, and do a video, and I just needed the volume down a little bit so people could hear me. Well, it's obvious that this person does not have children, and it's obvious that they may not even have a job. Because someone who wakes up responsibly at 4:45 a.m. every day, sometimes 5 if I had washed my hair, get the house ready, get his lunch packed, make breakfast, take care of the dogs, and do everything that I'm supposed to do for myself on top of just getting him ready, doesn't understand that there's structure in homes. That being a parent, especially when your husband is working out of town and you're working as well, I guess she thought that I embarrassed him by asking him to turn the TV down. And so she criticized my parenting style when it is obvious that anyone with children would know that if you go in and ask your child, and we all know this, that they like to have their volume on full blast, on their phone, on the TV, on the gaming, whatever it is, doesn't realize that being a parent is hard work, is discipline, it's respect. And my son is very respectful. He loves me to death. He does things for me that I don't ask him to do. You know what he does when he comes home? He cleans without me asking to help me because he knows that I have spine issues. And sometimes by the time I get home from work, I am in pain. And they wanted to criticize me asking my son to turn down the TV a little bit. What I've noticed with this generation of Gen Zs or Millennials is that they think that they have more rights than most. They do not know responsibility. They do not know how to be a parent. They do not know how to raise children with respect, dignity, and morals. And I'm getting a call. I don't know what it's about, but and I did leave a comment explaining that you must not have children to know the fact that when a mother or a father asks their children or child to do something, that they should do it. It's not an embarrassment. He didn't feel embarrassed. He just turned down the TV. Now, He could have went into many other rooms, a fully furnished basement, watched an 82-inch TV, played his VR, done anything, but he chose to watch his show upstairs. What echoed? Because it echoed, I asked him to turn it down. He had no problem with it. He didn't think it was rude. He didn't think it was inconsiderate, because my son is a respectful individual who has morals and values and respects his parents' wishes. So when I get comments like that of someone trying to teach me to be a parent when I am absolutely one of the best parents on earth, not only that, but being responsible for hundreds of students as a special needs teacher, and also being a mortician and having to deal with those situations and having the capacity and compassion for people, I am an individual that is a type of person that considers other people's feelings first before mine. So I let her know, don't come on my channel. I've never seen her comment before. She was trolling, probably because she didn't have a job. She was sitting at home, and that she wants to criticize how parenting style works. Now, I've never spanked my child. I've never had a reason to. You know why? Because he knows boundaries. So, for that person out there that I left your comment, it wasn't being a rude comment. It was a reality fact check comment. So before you come on my channel telling me how to treat my child, why don't you actually realize that being a parent, and especially, I'm not really single, but a single parent during the week and sometimes 2 weeks at a time, you have to set rules and regulations in your home for your child to follow, because if not, boundaries will be crossed. They will become disrespectful. Trust me, I work at a school. I see it every day. So this message right here is for you. And I hope you realize that not only do I take my time out of my days after working all day, taking care of my household and my child and my dogs and all the errands, that I get on YouTube to help thousands of people. Not only that, but also being a life coach on this little bit of free time that I do have for myself. So asking my child to turn down the TV for a 20, maybe 30-minute video is not belittling him. It's not embarrassing him. It is just me being a mother. So now that we got that straight, and it's 8 minutes long, and you can fast forward it, maybe I should have said that at the beginning. I will tell you that my healing process through these years has... You're going to Isaac's? Okay. Remember, we have basketball at 6:30. You need to be back by 6:25, please.
I'll be back way before then.
Okay. Make sure your ears are covered. But I'd like to talk about healing. I'm still getting over the flu. I'm drinking a lot of fluids right now. I'm trying to, get better. But I did go to work today. I was super happy. Everything was good. But let's talk about healing, because I feel like my last video was kind of like story time and healing. But I want you to imagine this. The years of trauma that you've went through is going to be about the years of trauma or the years of healing it's going to take for you to get over that trauma, unfortunately. With my own family and my mother, it took probably 2 decades to get over that. And once even though it's still relevant in my life, it's not prevalent like it once was. So if you're expecting to heal within a year, you're highly mistaken. You are going to be healing maybe for the rest of your life, unfortunately. And the healing gets better. The CPTS gets better. The hamster wheel, I like to say, gets better. The talking to yourself gets better. The arguing, or whatever you want to call it, gets better. And when you are putting effort into your healing, you are moving your healing in a progressive way. If you are only practicing healing here and there and not doing it on a daily, consistent basis, your healing is going to take a lot longer. See, before I made this YouTube channel, I was doing video diaries that I ended up uploading on YouTube, thinking I was alone. But I also knew, because I've read extensively about meddling mother-in-laws and narcissistic in-laws, that there was other people out there going through the same traumatic events that I was. And so I wanted to, even though I was scared, I'll admit, because all you got to do is type my name in and Good Intentions shows up, because it's connected to Google. I was scared that my in-laws were going to find it. But I was brave enough and strong enough to say I didn't care anymore. They didn't care about abusing me. They didn't care about all the things that they have done. They didn't care all the times that they tried to get my husband to leave me or divorce me or call me a nobody or nothing or garbage or whatever it is. Let me have a drink of water 1 second. My throat's still kind of sore, so but I will be honest, those first few years of me doing YouTube, I was super nervous they were going to find it, but they haven't found it. Or they have found it and haven't said anything, because they know that everything that I say is truthful. And in some ways, I hope they did find it, so they can see the reality of how they mistreated not only me, but their very own son and grandchild. So when you're going through this healing process, every day, my favorite thing is doing a video journal. Because through the years, if you are vlogging all the time, you don't have to post it. If you're vlogging all the time on your camera, and you go from angry, sad, remorseful, blamed, or blameful, whatever it is that you're going through at that time, you'll see a change somewhere in that discovery of healing. And so sometimes you do get discouraged because it feels like you're not healing, even though you are. Healing is a slow process. It is not a fast process. If it was a fast process, we wouldn't need counselors, or psychiatrists, or medication, right? So you have to be patient with your healing to be able to find the freedom and self-love and courage in being able to stand on your 2 feet and say, no more. I'm going no contact. This is not going to happen anymore. And although everyone around me is happy, I'm the scapegoat in the family now. I'm the one being blamed for this and that. I'm the one being called a nobody and nothing. I'm the one that's being gaslit at the dinner table, or having cognitive dissonance, or saying inappropriate things, or telling me that I'm talking too loud, or telling me to let the adults order off the menu, and that I needed to stay silent, even though I was on a keto diet and I just wanted a salad when we're ordering pizza. And they were our guest in New York. And so what I've realized through the years is that as long as it's taken for me to get to this point, I am so glad that I fought for my healing. Because a lot of people just give up and they don't fight for it. And they just go into addiction. They go into criminal behavior. They go into misdeeds, or not wanting to get jobs because they're depressed or have anxiety. Now we have this woke culture where they're quiet quitting, or they need mental health days and all this. Really, and I'm sure most of those mental health days are minute compared to our situation. But I can tell you that the slow progress has helped me tremendously, because I have not argued with myself, or cried in the shower, or cried in the car, argued in the car, or argued about anything in years. Probably years. I don't even really think about it anymore. I do think about like some of the cruel things, especially now, like she has cancer and stuff. I think like karma really got her, because you can't go around because she wasn't only treating me like this, she's like treating waitresses, which was super embarrassing to me. And I'd have to pull them aside and apologize when she wasn't looking. She would treat department store workers like that. We would go work out, and she would treat people like, well, you need to clean this machine before I work on it. Well, no, that's your responsibility. That's why there's a station to clean it, right? Arguing with hotel management for discounts because it just like dumb stuff, right? Embarrassing us at restaurants, just the whole 9 yards, right? So sometimes I do think about that, but then I think how stupid she looked, and how kind I looked by going back up to the people that she was rude to and inconsiderate to, and apologizing for her behavior. Like, why should I have to apologize for a grown-ass woman's entitlement? I mean, it got to the point that I didn't even want to go out to eat with their family anymore, because every single time there was an incident. Every time. And I'd always have to go find the waitress, and I always would tip them, even though they didn't want to tip. They would normally say, thank you for recognizing that was inappropriate of her to do. I appreciate you being sincere, but I'm just going to handle it. And you know what she used to do? Leave them 0 tips. Multimillionaires, 0 tips if she wasn't happy with their service. But I would tip them secretly. But what I've also realized through my healing journey is that the more I healed, the better my sex life got, the better my relationship with my husband got, the more my family was bonded, the more my son and I relationship was closer, my husband and I's relationship closer, enjoying family time. When he's home, we always have movies picked out. We always spend time together. But the 6 months that I was depressed, because what my mom did with the whole car episode, I was distant. I'll be honest. I was distant from my son. I was distant from my family, my husband, because I was reliving childhood trauma. And that's when I realized that I cannot have people who are acting irrational, unapologetic, and ungrateful in my life. I can't offer, I learned the hard way that I cannot offer my mother financial help anymore. I will still get her groceries and her little vape pens, because the agreement was with my husband, as long as she doesn't live here, we will help her in other ways. So I will keep my promise to that. But the car thing, my husband, he was ready to call my mom and cuss her out, because it was so inappropriate. What the text she sent, the things she said, especially when we first bought this house. It was like, as soon as we got the house and I showed her, like, because we bought it over Zoom, because I was just really, honestly, I was tired of flying all the time, and I was living in apartments for 10 years, and I just didn't really care. I just wanted a home. And so we had a realtor, like, do Zoom through the very first home we found, and I loved it. And what I didn't know was that the guy that owned this was a horticulturist or horticulturist. And so that summer, because we bought it when the snow was down, I found out we had a koi pond, and that he had planted plants where they were constantly blooming, dying, blooming, dying, blooming, dying. And it was just like a magical fairyland. And I really think that God blessed me in that way, because he knew how hard we had worked. And it's weird, because as soon as we bought this house, it was like my mom just like automatically thought I was just going to let her live with me, because it is 4-bedroom. It is fully furnished basement. It does have two living rooms upstairs and the basement downstairs and all of that. But when I told her, no, you're not going to live with me, she's like, well, I can help you with my dad's Social Security, right? My dad's Social Security that she does not deserve. That she would pay me. And I didn't need her money. So I said, no, I can't have you around. And like, literally, you can ask my son and my husband. She would wake up everyone in the house dead asleep on a weekend, or even if we had work that morning. She would blare the TV when she was visiting, dancing around like a crazy person. Okay? I couldn't have that in my home. As much as I've dealt with my mother's mental illness through the years, it's taken a really long time to forgive her for her actions towards me as a child. Hold on one second, please. I started forgiving her probably in my 20s. See, I was raised a Jehovah Witness. So I never had Christmases, I never had Halloweens, I never had birthdays, I never had Easters, nothing. And I remember as little kids, like, looking through the blinds at all the Halloween costumes, and I'd go to school and everybody would have new Christmas gifts or birthday gifts, and I wasn't able to stay in classrooms if they were doing Christmas stuff or Halloween stuff like that. So that was traumatizing too. And then she got into, like, Reiki and all this stuff, which, because where our house was, it was built on Indian burial ground, and it was used to be owned by a doctor. and he would have patients come there. There was intercoms in this house. Well, I started seeing black shadows in that house as a child. And my mom, when I told her about it, she said she was too, because she was going into her big closet and lighting candles and doing, like, I don't know what she was doing. She was into crystals and that whole new age movement once we stopped doing Jehovah Witness. And she brought entities in. And after that, what happened was I think she was possessed. She started attacking my dad. She let my brother drop out of school and all this stuff. And it's taken my brother, who now teaches out of college. He worked as a manager at night and put himself through college. And because he was magna cum laude second chair, the school hired him to teach electrical engineering. So although he didn't have more than a 6th, 7th grade education, he educated himself during the day and became, because he's super smart. He has like an IQ like I do, like 141 or something. He used to read like really thick Stephen King novels. He'd be in his room just reading them before my mom turned him out into a whatever you want to call it. So he succeeded. He's doing well. My little brother's doing well. But it's taken a long time to forgive her. And when you find forgiveness, it is a very slow process in which you think it's going to happen within a year, maybe 2 years. But the trauma and the memorization of the trauma haunts you for decades. And because it haunts you for decades, and yes, it does fade a little bit and you forget things, the healing process also can take that long. And so dealing with my mother and the trauma, I didn't speak to her for years. And when she would come over, she was taking the only furniture we had, or she would move back in, and I used to cry to my dad and beg him, don't let mom move back in, because within a month or two, it was her grand scheme. She would take our furniture, beds, things like that, from her children, and go start a new life in an apartment until she found a new man to leech on. So there was many times that we didn't have furniture in the house because my mom took it, and there was 3 children in this home. And at one time we lived in a very nice home. And what my mom was doing was, when my dad was giving her the checks to pay the mortgage and the lights and utilities and all that, she wasn't. She was spending it on, because she is a compulsive spender because of her depression and trauma. She was spending money to keep the lights on and things like that on other things. And so there was many times that our water and lights would be cut off. But what my dad did not know was she was not paying the mortgage. So, I'm sorry, I'm letting my dogs in. Come on, guys. And so, eventually, the lies caught up to her. And my dad found out because she was constantly attacking him and getting him arrested. And he'd have to live in a hotel. And she was partying with, my brother's friends, and let him drop out at 12. And so he's still very upset over it. He has not started his healing journey. He talks really poorly to my mom. he doesn't really want anything to do with her, because every time she's around, she's saying very inappropriate comments, or it's really hard to explain, right? But healing is a way to regain power and strength within yourself, within your soul, within your spirit, to overcome things and accomplish things in life. And this goes for your mother-in-law, father-in-law, sister, brother, whoever traumatized you. If you don't put in the work and you don't put in the effort, she's doing her squeaky, the healing is not going to come. And it is an everyday exercise you have to do. If that means you have children and you need to ask someone, hey, can you watch my child for 30 minutes? Or can the children go do something for 30 minutes while you make your video diary or write a diary or whatever it is? It will show you the progress through the years of how you've healed. So when you come to those points where you feel like you're not healing, because there are going to be times that during these healing the process, even if it's a year or two later, you feel like I'm not healing, I'm still thinking about this. You can go back to those videos or back to the diary and read your entries or watch your entries and see how far you have come, because your first entries are going to be angry and sad and crying, and why did this happen to me? Why was I chosen to be put in this situation, and things like that. But if you keep a journal of this every single day, not once a week, not once every other day, every single day, even if the video is only a few minutes saying I'm doing good, we're on the right track, that's all you need. But you will see through the videos or through the diary that your anger and your resilience is coming back, and the mourning of the loss of that loved one is like coming to realization that no, these people are not going to be in my life, they're dead to me. And you quit thinking of them as living human beings and instead moving forward as they're no longer alive in your life. You will see the progress within yourself and the determination you have to make yourself better, and also the determination on your healing journey. So I hope today's video touched your hearts. And I'm sorry I had to go on a rant for a few minutes, but I really find it like I have to delete a lot of comments because people come on here that have never been on my channel before, this community that we built together. You built it. And really don't understand what we've been through, and criticize and shame us for going no contact with our parents or in-laws, and that we should feel ashamed of ourselves and all this stuff. Like, shame on you. You're like, they don't understand that we are dealing with people that have psychopathy, psychopathic tendencies, narcissistic personality disorders, other disorders, depression, anxiety, that have affected us as children and as teenagers and adults still to this day. So when I see people trying to shame me about my son that I love dearly, and he could even step in, I'm not going to show him, but tell you that, dude, do you understand? I am like the best cook. I make everything from scratch. Last night we had stuffed pasta shells with ricotta cheese and Alfredo sauce and freshly grated Parmesan, that like a block, like a triangle square, that cost me a lot of money. We made ricotta. not ricotta. It's gosh, dog it. You know the long shells that you stuff the ricotta in? That, okay? Like, I teach my son to cook. He cooks good dishes. We make homemade Asian food. We do all of this. I usually go and buy a rotisserie chicken that's pre-cooked at Walmart or whatever local store. And we use that because it speeds up the process of making these. And we make enchilada dinners. We do all that. But anyway, someone's at the door. I don't know who. But yeah, I hope this message finds you guys well. And you can skip through the part that you don't like. Peace, love, and harmony. Love you guys. Bye.